There we go. Yo, what's going on? It's Keys from Black Quarterback Series. I'm not even going to waste y'all time today. Let's get started. Week 3. Let's go. So, yeah, if you don't know, my name is Keys of the Black Quarterback Series. And so let's get into it with week 3. So we got the Ravens. Now, I'll be lying to you if I wasn't in the back of my head. I was thinking like, oh my God, is the Ravens are about to give away another game. Did not happen this time. Lamar made sure of that. Lamar was 18 for 29, 218 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 11 carries, 107 yards, rushing, and a touchdown. And 2 of those touchdowns went to Andrews. And an absolute dart to Duvernay in the side of the end zone. So let's talk about it. So let's start where we left off last week. The defense came to play every chance they needed to make a play, whether they needed an interception, whether they needed to make a fumble recovery, whether they needed to make a big stop on third down. The defense came through. Now the defense got us in the situation to begin with, because you're talking, it was close up until Lamar scored that last touchdown, and then it was out of hand. But the defense did what it was supposed to do at the end. Now, Parker, I can't remember his first name. Parker was going crazy. This was his coming out game as an NFL pro. He made life miserable. He made life super duper miserable. They had Mac Jones out there looking like Cam Newton, which is why he got a high ankle sprain now. But doesn't even matter. They got the win. My only concern with the Ravens is that offensive line. The right tackle, I can't remember his name right now. I'll put it up on the screen. But number 77 is not very good. Now he got it together. He got it together at some point in the game, but them first 2-3 drives were terrible. Like, he was just getting beat every single time. Now that's a great defensive end. It's a really good defensive end that he's going up against, and I think number 77 for Baltimore was a rookie. And it looked like it. But all in all, they got the win. Lamar played well. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Speaking on MVP candidates, let's get to Mr. Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts was 22 for 35, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, with a 24-8 win against Carson Wentz and Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz is not that guy. He has never been that guy. And he will never be that guy ever again, even if you thought he was that guy. It just wasn't even close. The final score was 24-8. And I think this was one of those games where they got up 24 and Washington quit. So the Eagles didn't even really have to do anything else. And with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown making Madden 16 type catches, I mean, what can you say? Devontae Smith was 8 receptions, 169 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown was 8 receptions, 85 yards and a touchdown. And when I say these boys was just gunning for the start, like I say this sometimes when I'm watching the game, they playing on rookie. It looked like Hurts was playing on rookie. That's how well he was playing. He was playing on rookie. Now, again, me personally, I'm still not sold on the Eagles. I hope I'm wrong now. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not sold on the Eagles. I want to be sold on the Eagles, but something's telling me just not to be sold on them yet. If they get through this gauntlet and they like 7-1, I have no choice but to believe in the Eagles. But I want to keep my foot on them. So they played well. They should have scored more points, but I see the nature of the game was that they didn't really need to score more. The game didn't start off well though. They didn't score up until the second quarter, and then they didn't score after the second quarter. So they got to figure that out, because against better teams, they're going to fight. Against the Bradys, the Rodgers, even Kirk Cousins, if they play Kirk Cousins again, and all the NFC East, most of the NFC East, I think, they're going to play a lot better, and it's not going to be as easy as that was. The defense had 9 sacks, and I think that's what made Carson Wentz say no mas. I was a Rams fan when Mark Bolger was in St. Louis, and the way Carson Wentz was just going down, and just after the 5th sack was like, look, I'm just not doing this no more. It's the same thing I used to see in Mark Bolger all the time. So it's kind of sad that that offensive line is that bad. You never want to see a quarterback get hurt, get beat up like that, you know? But that defense played great. They had 9 sacks. You don't just slip into 9 sacks. So the Eagles play lights out. That 8 points is, I think, the 8 points is from a safety and a touchdown at the very end. So basically the whole game was 24-0. Whole game was 24-0. Absolutely spectacular game by Jalen Hurts and the crew. We're going to get to some of the smaller games, and then we're going to bounce back to some of our other big name guys. Geno Smith and Seattle. They played well. Now, granted, they played against Atlanta. You know, y'all know how I feel about Atlanta. They ended up winning. They ended up losing against Atlanta 27-23 on a Geno Smith interception when he was just trying to make something happen. Even though on a loss, they played well. I don't expect nothing from Seattle, but the fact that Seattle is fighting hard and they don't look terrible is great for Seattle. Geno was 32-44, 325 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And he looked okay. He was doing just enough for them to even be in the game. And that's really all I can ask from Geno Smith, you know. Same thing with Jacoby Brissett when they beat Pittsburgh. Jacoby was 20-30-31, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. Two touchdown passes. Chubb and Coop really did all the heavy lifting. Amari was 7 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown. Chubb had 23 carries, 113 rushing yards and a touchdown. That's what you want to do. That's how you hold the fort down until Deshaun gets back. If Brissett can play like that, to just drive the car and don't mess it up, they're going to win a lot of football games like that. So I was impressed with Geno and Brissett this week. Go back to the Cardinals. The Cardinals, this is what I'm saying and I think I said it last week. Slow starts will kill you. Or on YouTube. Slow starts will unalive you. They got off to a slow start, and you looking at you down 10-0 to a Super Bowl contender in the Rams. They settled for field goals on 4 occasions. They settled for field goals on 4 occasions, and the Rams only won by 8 points. If you cash in on 2 of those, it's a whole different ballgame in the fourth quarter. But they settled for field goals, and at the end, for some reason, they thought to kick a field goal. They thought to kick a field goal instead of going for the touchdown. There's less than a minute left. The odds are not in your favor for that. I don't know what they was thinking kicking a field goal there. That just didn't make no sense to me at all. Now, Kyler Murray, he threw way too many passes. He was 37 for 58, 314 passing yards. Way too much. But Kyler Murray seems like that's all they have at this point. But you lose 20-12, and you get four field goals. And then the Rams don't play well on offense either, but they only have to get 1 field goal for real. But they scored 2 touchdowns. That's the difference of the game right there. Y'all got field goals, the Rams got touchdowns. That was pretty much the game right there. Speaking of a team just not being good and making every mistake in the book to lose, is the Saints. I'm gonna run down all the plays that the Saints left out there that would have changed this game completely. A block punt, the fumble for a touchdown, a missed field goal. Jameis Winston fumbles on 3rd down in the 4th, which forces them to kick. And then an absolute ridiculous interception where somebody caught it off the back of another defender. These plays were terrible for the Saints, and which is why the Saints lost. You might look at the score and be like, why did the Saints lose this game? That's why. It's 5-6 occasions of this absolutely crazy stuff happening. From the block punt to the fumble return for a touchdown for Carolina. It's just crazy. Now, he didn't play terrible, but he didn't play well either. It's just the nature when you have Jameis Winston. He was 25 for 41, 353 passing yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. They ended up losing 14-22. So if any of these go well, you're looking at a different game. If they don't have the fumble that turns into a touchdown for Carolina, and they make the punt, and they don't have their interception, we're looking at a completely different ball game. But I don't really want to blame this on Jameis, even though it probably is Jameis. But I don't know. I don't even know what to make of the Saints, but the Saints lose again. And so, as far as the Russ game, I already made a video about Russell Wilson's game from Sunday. The link could be at the top or at the end. And so, we're going to move on and talk about Mahomes. Mahomes was 20 for 35, 262 yards, a touchdown and interception, which, spoiler alert, which the interception was what was the nail in the coffin for them to lose this game. Again, just like with the Saints, they tried to fake punt it, or they tried a fake field goal, didn't work. They missed the field goal and they missed the extra point, and they only lost by 3 points. If they get all of those, they win. They win by, you guys do the math. It's 23-24, Kansas City. And I don't really care about the Bieniemy getting into it with Mahomes. That's what happens when two alpha dogs are trying to win the game. I'm not really concerned about that. If more comes out about it, more will come out about it. But the fact they lost this game on a crazy play is ridiculous. But Matt Ryan did turn back the hands of time on that last drive. So what can you really do there? Matt Ryan been doing that for over a decade. The Kansas City offense is so good that when they lose games like this for offensive miscues, you're like, damn, for real? Like, you expect the Saints to do that. It's Jameis. But, like, when Mahomes makes plays like that, you like, damn, for real? So I expect them to bounce back. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But that's a rough loss, especially when it was right there for you to win it. It was literally right there for you to win it. I compare it to something of like when you're on the phone, because this happened to me on Madden before. I was playing Madden, I was on the phone with my girl, and I just wasn't paying attention, and I lost the game because I wasn't paying attention. It just seemed like Kansas City just was not interested. And like, it just compiled into that last drive, and then they couldn't regain it. So that might be a poor analogy, but that's the way I saw it. And so last game of the day, or of the video, is the Bears game that they ended up winning 20-3. I'm starting to see that this Bears team kind of reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder when KD and Russ and James Harden was there. They're really young, so they don't know what they're doing yet, but they're still in all these games. Now granted they played Houston, but Justin didn't play well. He was 8 for 17, 106 yards and 2 interceptions, and one of those interceptions was really bad. But Herbert was the running back. Herbert was the guy. 20 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. They just gave him the ball and said, "Run us to victory, Herbert," and that's what he did. The Texans are much better than we thought they would be. And I think the Bears are much better than we thought they'd be. Now, the Bears are not going to be world beaters. I don't expect them to make the playoffs. I expect them to be like Detroit was. I think it was either last year or the year before that, where they were in a lot of games, but they lost a lot of the games because they didn't know how to win yet. I expect the Bears to be in that type of situation. So we got to put some respect on the Texans, because the Texans are a tough out. We've learned that the Texans are a tough out. They're no fluke on defense. I don't think there's no names on their defense, but they're no fluke on defense. So let's not act like they're not world beaters, but let's not act like they're easy out now. So that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up before they keep renovating or whatever they're doing in my basement. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Stay tuned for my week 4 picks. That will be out Thursday morning. So be on the lookout for that. Wednesday, Thursday morning, however I feel. Most likely Thursday morning. So that's all I got for you guys. Enjoy football. Peace.